Good afternoon. Notice is hereby given that the Mayor and City Council of City of Nogales will meet in regular session on Wednesday, August 8th at 6 p.m. And I call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Invocation will be given by Reverend Lucy Thomas from St. Andrew's Episcopal Church.
With Mayor Garino's permission, I'm asked to say just a couple of words before I lead us in prayer. 9 years ago, I came to Nogales to serve as rector of St. Andrew's Episcopal Church, and I've been involved with the church, the preschool, of course the children's clinic, which meets first Thursday of every month there. And I've had the opportunity to work with a number of civic organizations, working with women and girls, including Zonta International, Circles of Peace, also the committee that brought the domestic violence shelter to this community, and finally the cowbells. I come from a ranching family in California, so the cowbells also. It's been a really good experience for me here on the border with Mexico, but it's time for me to move on. I have recently accepted a call to a Mexican Anglican church, and yes, there are Mexican Anglican churches in San Miguel de Allende and Guanajuato in Mexico. And I'll be there as an interim for 1 year. So tonight's my opportunity to say adios to all of you. I know many of you, not all of you, but to many of you. And may Nogales continue to grow and prosper and serve each and every one of its citizens well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for letting me say that. And now let us pray. The Lord be with you. Gracious God, creator of all that is, we give you thanks for this opportunity to come together and to deliberate on ways to serve this unique community on the U.S.-Mexico border. We pray for the people of this community, and we pray for guidance for these, their leaders gathered here tonight, that a spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice be with them all. And also we pray for a good turnout in the upcoming primary elections in this city, county, and state, that they may truly be free and fair and reflect the will of the people. And may those who are elected be faithful servants in their administration and be guided in right actions for the welfare and peace of all. For yours is the kingdom, O Lord, and you are exalted as head above all. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. Thank you, Karen.
One less. The barbecue's after I leave, I'm sorry to say. Thank you so much. And thank you for allowing me to say this. Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Item number 4, call to the public. Do we have any members? None at all? Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak and call to the public? Okay, none, we'll continue. Item number 5, Mayor and Council's report on current events. We'll start with you, Mr. Councilman Diaz.
Okay, I got a few things. First of all, on behalf of BFW Post 2066, I would like to thank Mr. Luis Munoz that went for the Eagle Scout doing a project for the city of Nogales Cemetery. They put pavers in, they came to council and asked permission to do it because the cemetery is a city of Nogales property. Well, I was out there, looked at it, it was great. It turned out really great. So I would like to thank Luis Munoz Sr., the dad, Triple Nickel Boy Scout Troop, the Home Depot for furnishing all the materials and putting a crew of 3, I believe, to help in sending pavers, moving sand and stuff like that. And I would also like to thank Mayor Garino for being there and doing a lot of the labor and lending his expertise to the Boy Scouts so they could do a good job. Thank you, Leonard. You did a great job. Thank you very much for being there. And I would like to thank everybody else that participated in the project. It turned out very nice. They did it really fast. And I'd like to invite all of you to go look at it. It's the veterans plot at the Nogales Cemetery up on top. And also, I went to the U.S. Department of Labor Mega Project Initiative meeting at Bank 1, and that turned out very well. They're going to start phase 3 of the Mariposa Port. They're going to be hiring anywhere from 260 to 280 people for that project, and it's about a two-year job. I also went to the NARO convention in San Francisco. I hooked up with our director, Hector Bojorquez, back there, and we did pretty good. We went to a few meetings, some lectures, and we also, our keynote speaker was John Quinones. He's with ABC News. He's a journalist. And to my amazement, they had a little a presentation, a little movie clip, and Nogales was in that. Sheriff Estrada got interviewed, and part of the border was shown in that film, and also Tucson. So that went very well. And I came up to the Commissioner David Aguilar security briefing yesterday, and that was great. It was very good. They promised a lot of good things for Nogales, and I'm very happy and enthused that all these high-ranking, important people are coming down to Nogales to see what we're doing and offer their assistance. So I'd like to say everything is going good, everything is positive. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Mr.
Mr. Mayor, I echo Councilman Diaz. I was with him. He very eloquently said everything, but I don't think anybody can really say enough for what happened at yesterday's meeting. It was really a very positive meeting, very, very good meeting. And I'm very glad that we had that meeting down here. Like I said, it's very nice to have the commissioner that was in Nogales for 10 years, and also one of the gentlemen, head of Border Patrol, who was born in Nogales. And it was a very interesting meeting, very, very good. And they did applaud you, Mr. Mayor, for all the work you've done. And I think everybody there was in agreement. So, again, it was all very, very good.
Thank you very much. Mr. Parada?
It took everything away, but I want to thank everybody that's involved in working in the cemetery. I think it's a great job they did up there for us. In behalf of the veterans of the American Legion Post 23, I'd like to thank you, Mayor, and all involved in making it possible.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
I don't think I have very much to report, but I congratulate you for being there and assisting them and helping out like always.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. Councilman?
I also attended the memorial service they gave to Nogales firefighters Sterling at the Nogales High School auditorium. It was something really unbelievable, and it was great for them to do it. I also attended the mega project for the initiative of Mariposa Port of Entry, and also the security briefing by the Commissioner David Aguilar. And we're still working for the Fiestas Patria event that is going to be September 15th at Pleasure Park.
Thank you very much. And I'll proceed with this. I attended this past month, presentation in McAllen, Texas, in regards to trade and border security. I was invited by NALCAP to speak over there, representing Nogales, and I feel very comfortable that everything went well. I bring back a lot of good information, a lot of knowledge from those 4 ports that I visited and had all the opportunities that Homeland Security actually gave me to visit and take me to all these places. I'm very happy with that. I also was part of the Jump Back to School program that we had at the school. We helped close to 900 kids and families, actually, with school supplies, with uniforms, and this was a collaboration from almost every entity in the city and county and the school district. So it was the first annual. Ms. Brecker, you were there. Yes, it was great, and I hope we continue this because it's so important for our community. This is what you call building partnerships with our community and our good community outreach. And I also want to thank the councilmen and that were with us yesterday in the meeting with the commissioner. His first visit to Nogales. There's a lot more planned visits to Nogales, and we expect to get a lot of work done through his collaboration and the partnerships with our local police department. And Chief, I want to thank you very much for being there yesterday, and Mr. Dildy, and it's this, and Mr. Kissinger also. This was all law enforcement, and one of the things that I told the commissioner yesterday when we were in this room, that this was the safest room in the United States yesterday. With all the uniforms and all the agencies here, I mean, we're safer than the White House. Matter of fact, the commissioner said it was the safest room. Yeah. So this is the work that we're doing in the city, and we expect to do this. So we expect to continue doing this as a city council and working for you and doing the best for the community so we can have a better quality of life. Thank you very much. We'll go on to item number 6, consent agenda. Consent agenda, motion from item A through I.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Parada. Thank you, Mr. Hanesian. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? You guys have it. Item number 7, consideration and possible action of resolution number R2012-08-08008.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Thank you very much. Discussion? Mr. Dewey, you want to say a few words on this one, on the resolution for the tomato growers?
Mr. Mayor, this item may be best from you. It's coming from your office.
Yes, okay. Well, what it is, this is voicing our opposition, and we're going to be helping our local economy and helping our local growers here with a resolution to assist them because of the issues and possibilities that could happen if Florida growers, were to dismantle the agreement that Fresh Tomatoes has. So basically, that's what this is all about. So we're passing a resolution, and we're also going to send a letter ourselves. And we're partnering with the Fresh Produce Association and the Port Authority and all the agencies involved.
Mr. Mayor, the only thing I'd add is it just seems to fall in line with our organization's effort to protect this important industry to our community, and you bringing this forward is just another example of that effort. So I think if there's any questions, it's pretty self-explanatory in here, and it's just our voice, throwing our voice in with a whole bunch of other voices in opposition to this effort from some of the powers that be in the Florida, to make some trails, blaze some trails for their industry that would have impacts on ours.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Item number 8, discussion, update on paving projects, Via Coronado and Walnut Street. This is also one that I submitted, and I spoke with Mr. Dilly about this, and we're going to be discussing this, and I noticed there's some residents here from the Via Coronado area, and like I had said, Mr. Dilly, that it's a project. It's one of our capital improvement projects that we've been working on, and I have mentioned it to them. We've done the infrastructure part of it, and now we're in the process of doing the paving. We've done some of the concrete. When I visited the residents from Culver Street, there were some concrete issues, and I represented to you, Mr. Dilly, also. And one of the things that I want to do, and I want to ask the assistance of the members of the City Council, that maybe if there's a possibility through the direction of Mr. Dilly, that we could proceed on this project different. So I'm going to let Mr. Dilly speak on behalf of this, and then from there we'll take whatever action on. Mr. Dilly, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Obviously, there's a recognized need. This project, and I think I'll throw in Walnut at the same time. Both of these projects have been high on the priority list for the City Council for a number of years. We're fortunate to have engaged in both of those projects. The problem that we're having at this point in time is that recently we've seen some attrition in our ranks in the street department, and the street department happens to be key and critical to moving forward as we had originally planned with these two projects. We had quite a meeting yesterday and the day before with staff on these two projects. What we have found is that in prioritizing our projects, our capital projects, so we've got a number of them on the burner, we have our staff pulled in a whole bunch of different directions, whether it's the water, sewer, or street department, Parks and Rec as well. If you notice, a lot of our Parks and Rec guys have been up and down Grand Avenue, just helping out getting the vegetation cut down on the streets. So we're doing kind of an all hands on deck approach to taking care of some of these capital projects. But that doesn't negate the need that exists today. Obviously the monsoon season is a terrible time, even if we had full staff to be doing a pavement project. You'll notice some delays on the Morley project.
Listen.
Yes, and I'm seeing the thunder out there, the lightning out there right now. So, but the contractor on Morley is out doing things that doesn't jeopardize their project that they can do in acclimate weather like this. So we have these delays that are hitting us, and we have to respond to it. One of the concerns that have come forward is concrete. Anytime we're pulling out a project for capital, one of the things that we have to do right off the bat is make sure that our ramps and access points off of the road and onto the sidewalk are ADA compliant. And so you'll notice in the Coronado project, we certainly took care of that aspect of things where we got the ramps in place. But sometimes you see just a few feet down from the ramps, there's a concrete slab that has lifted and shifted because of movement under the ground. Why didn't we take care of that right away? Well, it wasn't done right away because we wanted the access, the ADA compliant access was critical at the time. Not that these other needs aren't important, but our staff has gone through and we have inventoried those areas of these projects that need help, in terms of the sidewalk. We want to make sure that the sidewalk is serving its purpose and that it's safe to walk on and ride bikes on or skateboard on. There's a number of ways of taking care of that. Sometimes it's a total rip the sidewalk out and put new stuff in. Sometimes you can grind the top down so that you still have your smooth surface and you don't cause an accident. But I wanted the council to know that on the Coronado project, those items have been inventoried and they're on our radar, and we will be addressing those in the course of finishing this project out. And we're in the process of inventorying similar needs on the Walnut Street project as well, because we know that exists, and making sure that gets done as part of the project. The question becomes the funding, because these projects weren't geared or identified to take care of the concrete, the ramps, yes, but not the in-between concrete on the sidewalks. It was just water, sewer, and pavement. One thing that I had talked to the mayor about was the potential of utilizing some of the overweight fee money coming into the HERF fund to take care of some of these needs. Where it's not probably a good idea for us to utilize that money, those overweight fees, that permit money for heartbeats or positions, I think it is extremely appropriate and very conservative on our end to allocate that money for the use of materials, supplies, maybe getting a contractor in to help get some of these projects out of the way and behind us. And I don't know, Mayor, if that's kind of where you were leading, but it might be an appropriate use of that money in the right time to utilize some of that money to get contractor help in to take care of some of that work, so that we can get past and beyond.
Actually, that's the reason I wanted to put it in the agenda, so the members of the council could help us out on this, and so that how temperatures also cause a lot of issues, Mr. Jolie, when it comes in, and then winter will come upon us in no time, and then we'll have that temperature issue on the substrate like we had it on Morley, and then we could have issues when it comes to the paving part of it.
That's right.
No company will do it if it's lower than 75 degrees. So that's why I wanted to bring it to the city council, and I had mentioned it to you with the visit that I had with the residents from the Villa Coronado area, and to see if you could help us out on this, and then the members of the city council could make a decision that maybe we could, try to do that. I don't know actually where you stand right now with those monies or what you've gotten back from the state of Arizona and how it can be used. But maybe we can start working on that so that we can, I don't know exactly where you're at.
So I don't think that the dust is totally settled on the use of these monies, which is why, at least from my office, you'll have a recommendation not to use that money for positions, because once you hire a position, you're locked into that, and it's tough to make a change, and you're committed to that annual salary year in and year out. I would recommend that we limit the use of these monies, and there's plenty of need for it, and we can utilize it, and the city can benefit to its fullest extent. But I would recommend that we limit, at least for the time being, the use of that monies to materials, supplies, contractors, if we want to hire them to come in and take care of projects as we see needs throughout the community. But we haven't seen any of those monies come in yet. The state hasn't put forward any of that. We don't expect anything to come in until September, maybe late September. And when we do start seeing those monies come in, we'll have a better feel for what kind of availability we have. Meanwhile, staff can get the the specs in order if we want to get some. It's called JOC contracting. It's job order contracting, where you don't have contractors on the books for a specific project. You have them give you bids on a quantity basis. So they don't know the project when they bid. They just say, for every linear feet of asphalt, we charge this much, or concrete, we charge this much. And then we can apply those quantities to a specific project when the project comes alive and active. A very common contracting method throughout the state of Arizona. I just don't think that we've utilized it here, but that doesn't mean that we can't. And I've already talked to Public Works a little bit about moving in that direction, which would allow staff to respond a lot quicker to these needs in the future. So we'll certainly start preparing along those lines, and as we start seeing that money come in, hopefully we'll be in a position to respond and get some contractors out there to take care of some of this work. Also, we're not planning on standing idle as it relates to our existing staffing needs in the street department. So we'll be moving forward with that too, and hopefully be able to make progress one way or the other on these projects. If the council feels comfortable with
something that the council would, on the money on the weight limit.
Yes.
Yes.
I think, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Mr. Dilly, we haven't heard anything from the state saying that they're not going to give us the money, right?
No, on the contrary. I think we've got pretty good confirmation that the money is going to be coming. And we've got a reasonable amount of assurance on the amount, but we haven't seen a penny of that yet. So it's just a matter of waiting things out until that process. It's a big engine at the state level, and they've got to get that going, and we don't expect to see anything until September.
But we could, let's say, start the paving and whatever was needed, and take it out of the reserve fund as long as that money's coming out. The same way it was with the government, where we had to come up with $900,000 in advance before they paid us. Luckily, we had the money available. Because I don't want to wait till September, because if we wait till September, we're in winter. And then the deal is going to be until next year.
As long as, if you'll allow me to, to have some flexibility in making a decision either way, I just need to know that it's okay with you. If we get into that situation, I can those resources are available, and then I'll just apply good judgment in trying to go down the path that gets us to the goal, one way or the other.
Okay.
Members of the council. Yes, Mayor.
Yes. Yes.
As long as the money's coming in, your weight will be covered.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're covered.
No, I don't foresee any problem with that. I know we're going to get the money.
Okay.
Is that the only problem was that, or not a problem, but the way it was going to be done before, the paving was going to be done in-house, and our employees were going to be doing the paving. The rest of the infrastructure was going to be done by the company. Those were the plans. And well, there's been a delay on that, and I just don't want, the winter to come up, and it'll take us until March of next year if we don't move on it right now. So
We certainly recognize the concrete issue. There's quite a list just on the Coronado that we've
Yes.
identified, so, you know, that's just work that has to be done, and
that we could do in-house, a lot of it. Probably.
well, yeah.
Yeah, I think, so, yes. I want to say yes on
That's
that.
under debate, but,
Yes.
Okay.
but one way or another, you know, we need to get it done, and obviously if we can do it in-house and we don't create additional problems for ourselves, that's the way we need to do it.
But it needs to be done.
But it needs to be done, and at the end of the day, if I need to contract that out just so that we can keep things moving forward, then if I have the consensus of the council that that's an acceptable use of that money, then I'd like to move forward.
Okay.
Mr. Jay, thank you very much. Okay. Item number 9, discussion possible action on request.
I just want to ask a question. Was that
Did
what you
you-
were going to just,
Did you,
were you
anybody?
on that agenda? item?
Yeah, I might as well, I'm sorry.
I don't know what the order is on, if I'm allowed to speak.
No, you can, yes, if you want to speak on that, you
Well-
could just stand on the podium, please. And then state your name and your address for the record.
Roberta Bracker, 276 West Culver. One of the big problems on our street is a safety issue for some of the sidewalks, which needs to be repaired before the streets are paved. We have probably 80% of our people are over the age of 65, and it's perilous to walk on our sidewalks. They're broken, they're uprooted, the differences of 3 to 4 inches. So I appreciate your attention to this matter. I appreciate it happening as soon as possible. And do you have any questions for me?
Well, another thing, I discussed with Mr. Dilly the issue of that retention pond, and he's aware of that, and they've also, I think, contacted the county on that. The one that's,
The retention?
yeah, by the
retention
bank,
by the
yeah,
bank.
retention, yeah.
So
And the gate too. Talked to Mr. Dilly about that
We
gate.
have some significant health and safety issues on our
Yes,
block.
yes.
And there are many members of our block that are here in support of something happening soon.
Yes, so that's our plan right now. So as you heard Mr. Dilly and the members of the council, we're going to move forward on this.
Okay, thank you. Keep mentioning.
Is there anybody else that would like to say anything in regards to either the Walnut Street or the Coronado District? Coronado, would you like to say something?
I have to go.
Yes, you have.
My name's Rachel Valenzuela, and I live at 215 West Culver Street. And I'm saying exactly what Mrs. Bracker said. We're having the problem, and the thing is that as time goes by, it was getting worse. It's kind of like the other times that we've had meetings at Ms. Bracker's house, the people from our street have shown up at the meetings. And everybody has put their 2 cents in as far as their different ideas or what they want. And I really hope all of you know what we're talking about, because it used to be one of the prettiest streets or the nicest streets a long time ago. And we'd like to see it back to where it was, at least partially, and get rid of all that water that's on Ramirez and the pond with the frogs and all that. So I really appreciate all of you listening to us about that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Item number 9, discussion, possible action on request to turn on remaining street lights. Councilwoman Menendez Lopez, you asked to place this on the agenda. Would you please?
Yes, I've been receiving complaints on a daily basis. Thank you, Mr. Kissinger. You've been taking care of most of the problems, but then the people has to call and give the complaint when we know that the lights are off. I went to the study of what they gave me regarding the lights. Okay, there were 480 lights supposed to be turned off. Some of them they already on, but there's a remaining of 190 lights off. Of those 190 lights, 27 lamps are on private property, which I understand. I mean, that's not our responsibility. 61 of them are one too close to the other, fine. But the remaining 83 lamps that are still there and people is complaining about it, I think we should put them on right away. That's my request.
Yes, that's right.
I had already mentioned this to you before.
Yes.
People have been calling me about that, and you said that you were going to talk to the citizens utility. Is it there? Is them?
Can I clarify?
Or
I did approach Vice Mayor on that, but I found out that most of these lights were part of the lights that so we need to have a contract with it, actually. So this is part of the lights that were turned off, actually,
Yes.
with the past administration. So it's an issue that I think that keeps on coming back, and I've had the same calls. Matter of fact, I received one letter today from a person in Nogales, an elderly person telling me that she's been having problems and the lights turned off in front of her house. So, I didn't want to call her because I wanted to see the results of this agenda item. But I know you've talked to me about that, Vice Mayor.
And I also talked to Mr. Kissinger on several of the lights, and he has taken care of them. He's been doing a good job, thank you, sir. And also, we have about 5 lights out, the ones that are right next to the sidewalk going to the hospital. They've been off for more than 2 weeks.
And you know that I found out, Vice Mayor, that a lot of lights are defective because we've called and thinking that it was the lights that we turned off at the time. And no, these are lights that are supposed to be turned on, but Unisource hasn't done anything about fixing them, but they are aware of it. I don't know if they don't have the staffing or they don't have the time for it or they're scheduling for it, but the lights that are in question right now are actually the lights that were turned off. And
Right.
As you know, I opposed that from day one. I didn't want any of the lights turned off back when they turned them off, the 480 lights. But I myself, I agree with Councilwoman Ms. Lopez that these lights should be turned on.
And I
There were some lights that are facing into private property. We shouldn't get private property, not paying for the city's coffers. But there are some lights that I think should be turned on. There was a study done. There was a study done from some of our staff and fire department, police, and public works to see what was the difference between the lights, and there was a separation. Some lights might have been a little too close to each other, but there's still that issue. There's still people calling and saying, if you turn the other 200 lights on, why aren't you turning these?
Well, especially right now, school's starting back again, we need them very, very much.
One other thing, I called Unisource, and according to Unisource, what was supposed to be on, they're on. What we requested them, it's on.
They're all on already?
Yeah.
I have
the rest,
received
no.
confirmation from Unisource that all of the lights that we submitted to them based off of the study that the council approved quadrant by quadrant, Unisource has turned them back on. So, either the light is off for mechanical reasons, malfunction, right? Mechanical malfunction, whether it's a light or, the bulb is out, the element's out, or the power source is down or whatever. Or they were intentionally turned off via the study that we did. Okay, so there's about 190 of those lights.
Too many lights.
Mr. Mayor, can
Yes, go ahead.
John address?
That's right.
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to make something kind of clear. And if you have a question about any lights, I truly recommend that you give me a call and I'll research it for you and tell you, because there are lights within the city, like the ones on Western Avenue, that are decorative lights, the ones that go in by the hospital.
Right.
That those are totally under the city's control. So if you were to call Unisource, they're going to get mixed up and nothing's going to happen. The city has to fix those lights. There were 6 of them that are out.
Yes.
Right? We went out there and we addressed the issue, and we only had 1 bulb. So we have to order 5 more bulbs for these lights. I guess they're special bulbs. So we ordered the 5 bulbs. As soon as they get in, we're going to go put in the 5 bulbs on those lights, and we'll have those taken care of. So we took care of 1, and we got 5 more to go.
Those are pedestrian lights, though.
Yes, sir. So there are, you will find lights throughout the city. Some of them we maintain and control, and some of them are maintained and controlled by Unisource. We just pay for them. Okay, so if there's any particular light that any of your constituents or anybody has at any particular address or in front of or anything, if you will let me know, I'll find out if we need to fix it or Unisource needs to fix it. But if it's a light that's supposed to be on, we'll get it on.
Well, I have been utilizing your help, sir,
Yes,
and,
yes,
but
ma'am.
I didn't think I thought I'd wait for the meeting, so I.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
But my request is of the study that you did,
Yes, ma'am.
and going through figures, that's 83 lamps, they're still off, 27 in private property, which is okay, and the other 61, one close to the other. If that goes in
The
your
61
report.
are still, but they're questionable.
Yeah, they're questionable, yeah, because according to here, they are
They're
even
too
too close, or, that's okay. But those other 83, they're still there. I mean, they're supposed to be turned on.
Mr. Gonzalo, were you going to say something?
No, a lot of these lights, again, and I went, Mr. Castillo, on Western Avenue by the cemetery, there was like 6 lights off. And I got the numbers on them, and as it turned out, it's Unisource that was supposed to change the light bulbs. So they changed them, and now all the lights are on. Further up going on McNabb, there was some lights off again, and again it was, the lights were supposed to be on. They did not have that little sticker that says this is off. So there was like 10 lights, right? There was like 10 lights that were off, and all it was that they had to change the bulbs. Same thing coming off on the Patagonia Highway, coming off the bridge. Those lights were maintained by
ADOT.
Yeah, and ADOT is the one that had let them off, and nobody said a word for a while because everybody just figured they were off. It was a little too dark.
It was too dark.
It was too dark, so then I think John called ADOT, and then ADOT went and put them on. So there may be a lot of lights that we're talking about that may just, they're not working because the light bulb is not working, like those that Vice Mayor Valdez said, that by the hospital there, that we have to change the light bulbs. And I guess somebody's got to bring it up, And so I don't know, maybe of the ones that people are complaining, it may not be that they were ever turned off, it's just they're off because they're off.
No, I double checked on most of them.
And they are
They are in
members.
this same, yes. they
The
are.
same ones that I talked to are within that same study. So,
Mr. Mayor?
yes, Mr.
Just a little more information for the council. I know this is an actionable item, and I think it's important that you understand all the information so you can make an informed decision on this. In 2010, when the lights were shut off, it was a delayed shut off. We didn't get them shut off until later in the fiscal year. Our budget for that was $239,409. Okay, so that's what the expense was that we were having with all the lights on. The budget that we have for this year is $197,460. So that represents roughly a $42,000 savings by having the lights that we have off today off. Okay, so when you calculate that out, if there's 190 lights that are scheduled to be off, just some simple calculations, it equates to about $221 per light per year. Okay, so when we're talking about putting lights back on, there's going to be a budgetary impact to that. And the council needs to be aware of that as we move forward. And I thought that I'd throw the numbers out so you knew what we were talking about as we started making those kind of decisions. A lot of the comments that are shared about turning a light on have to do with safety, right? I mean,
Yes.
everybody
Well, has to.
everybody has that concern in mind. I just really want it to be understood by the council, and it was education for me, because I didn't know this at first. But a light does not necessarily make it safer. Okay, and I know that sounds weird, but I have an example, okay? It's kind of tough to see, but this is a building that's on the corner of Walnut Street and Sonoida,
Yes.
right? Okay? Hard to see, but there's a light on this end of the building, and then just across the street, Walnut Street, there's a light right here on the intersection, and both of them are illuminated. Okay, they're on. This is a recent picture from, I think, this week. Where is it? This week?
Last night.
Last night, okay. I point this out because in this area, along this building right here and along the backside where this light is illuminating, there's been a history of vandalism, graffiti on this building. Okay, light doesn't necessarily mean safer. Okay, now I'm not saying that darkness means safe either. I'm just saying that for us to just jump to the conclusion that light means safe doesn't necessarily mean that. You'll hear that really the only way to make it totally safe is to have surveillance there. Light and surveillance means safety because then we can catch the bad guys, right? But light in this instance means hey, a free canvas. I can just paint whatever I want and I can see exactly what I'm doing and everything's good. So I just wanted to point out that when we went through the study and using the parameters that council directed staff to use, one of those parameters was obviously, if we have overlapping light footprints, then that's abundance and we don't need that, so we got rid of some lights. But if there was general illumination in the area as well, we said, okay, there's general illumination, and we listed those poles on there as well for getting rid of. Obviously, if there were multiple lenses on the same pole, then that's a freebie. And then if it was on private property, that's another low-hanging fruit. But I just wanted to put that out there. This is an active problem that we have today in terms of graffiti and vandalism, and it's in a very well-lit area of town during the night. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware. It was news to me, and I was educated by going through the process. It's just not always a slam dunk either way.
Mr. Dilly, taggers do the night thing. Graffiti artists do it in the day.
Okay.
Okay.
Taggers, sorry.
Okay.
It was tagged at night.
So at night, taggers tag other corners, and that's not graffiti art. Graffiti artists don't do it in the night. They need to be able to see, and they do it in the day. But my concern is the people that have called me are not of my age, are not teenagers. They're people that are seniors.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And if they lived in that corner for 50 years, and 50 years or for the last 30 years they've had light, and then all of a sudden there's no more light in that corner, they don't feel safe anymore. So we made a decision that without even, we never conducted a study with the residents of the neighborhood.
That's right.
We just went out and turned them off.
That's right.
That's wrong. So did we, like the issue with Bungalow? All the lights are off on Bungalow, but then you come back and tell me that, and Hector told me that all those lights belong to the housing. But for the past 2 months, all of Bungalow has been out of light. So we have our own lights, but we're not addressing that issue. Now, and the majority of the people are seniors. And everyone that has called me, Mr. Jolie, and I'm sure that everyone that has called our council are not young people, they're seniors that are afraid, that feel uncomfortable. And I disagreed from day one to turn off the lights. I know we were having budget issues, but when it comes to safety, when it comes to improving the image of a city, don't darken the city to do that, just to save $40,000, $50,000. So that demonstration with the graffiti artist.
No, actually, taggers.
Taggers was not very good because I know the majority of the graffiti artists, they want to do it in the daytime, and taggers just go by there running through the street and doing this.
Mr. Mayor, if we take into consideration the 83 lights that I'm talking about, we're talking about $18,300.
That's right.
That's what we're talking about.
And that's not a lot of money.
Más o menos, but
yeah,
yes.
But that's not a lot of money for a person that's been living in a corner or in the middle of the street for 40 years.
Mr. Mayor, staff's ready, obviously, to carry out whatever directive comes from the council. I just thought it was important that the council has all the information that we have available to you when you make that decision.
Thanks, Mayor. Yes.
Again, Mr. Dilly, on that money from the overweight, on what we can use it for, can we use it on lighting or not?
I would recommend to the council that we limit the use of that money to not ongoing expenses. So, an electric bill, in my opinion, would be an ongoing expense. I think that we ought to, at least for the time being, maybe just for this fiscal year, just play it very conservative with that particular pool of money and utilize it for capital projects alone. Whether that's hiring a contractor or paying for materials and supplies, whatever it may be, buying equipment, that's a one-time expense, but I wouldn't suggest using it for an ongoing expense.
In case it gets cut off.
Yeah, that's right.
But we could find a stream that could fund those $18,000.
We will have to bring an order. If this is the direction of the council, then we will bring an order back to you for approval, and that will identify the funding source.
Okay.
Well, members of the council, do we have a motion to direct staff to, John? No.
I'm waiting for that motion.
No. Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, with your permission, Councilwoman Lopez worked with me, and I provided her with a list of all 190 lights that were turned off, and each one had a footnote. And she highlighted them and added them. I did the same thing. And my numbers and your numbers aren't exactly the same, but they're very, very close. Okay?
Maybe you're wrong.
Yeah. But I got to do it. So if you could just bear with me. Out of the 190 lights, we had 66 of them that we identified that the poles were so close that they didn't need them. Okay? We had 33 lights that they were turned into private property, thus illuminating private property, so we turned those off. Then we had 86, 86 that we identified as sufficient, there was sufficient surrounding illumination. And I think those are the numbers that you were talking about, right? And then we had 5 of the 190 that there was actually 2 lights on one pole. So we said, we don't need 2 lights on one pole, so 5 of those got turned off. So I know you're probably going to make a motion right now, and I'm sure you're not going to make a motion, and I'm hoping you're not going to make a motion to turn on 190 lights. No. You might make a motion to turn on one of those numbers or a portion of those numbers.
86.
But I was going to say, so I don't have to guess which one.
So it's 86.
So you
It's 86.
Thank you.
What I'll do is I'll allow Councilwoman Lopez to make the motion. She's got the number.
I'm correcting it, okay?
She got to correct it.
So it's $18,706.
Well, don't make a motion with the number.
Let's not do
No.
that.
Make a motion with lights.
86, I think. Was 86.
Then I'll make a motion that to turn on 86 of the, do I mention the 86 lights or
Mr. Mayor?
maybe more?
Or
Can I suggest something,
Yes.
please? I would suggest that you make a motion to direct staff to prepare an
Yes.
order that would affect turning on 86 lights.
That.
Okay, so I make a motion to direct staff to turn on,
To prepare
to
a
prepare
order.
an order
Yes.
to turn on
86.
the 86
Yes.
lights.
I second.
Vice Mayor, second.
Yes, sir.
I think we had enough discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much, members of the council. Mr. Dewey, thank you very much.
Thank you.
John, even though the Councilwoman says you were wrong, thank you very much. Thank
You've
you.
been helping me on a daily
No,
basis,
no,
and you know that. I mean, thank you, Jen. Really.
Okay, we're going to go item number 10, motor request, and I'm asking the council to pull this item. So, members of the council.
So moved.
Thank you very much. Item number 10 has been pulled from the agenda. Item number 11, consideration and possible action of order number 2012-08-053.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve order number 2012-80053.
Second. Thank you very much. Discussion?
None.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 12, consideration possible action of order number 2012-08-058.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you very much. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 13, consideration possible action number 2012-08-059.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve order number 2012-08-059.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 14, consideration possible action of order number 2012-08-060.
Mr. Mayor,
Thank, go ahead, Vice Mayor.
I move to,
These are school jump.
Okay.
they didn't give me a chance.
Did you, the motion, Vice Mayor, you made a motion, second, Mr. Parada, thank you. Discussion? Any discussion on this?
No, sir.
I can't believe Mr. Canisian's not saying anything.
I
Thank you very
already
much.
read the whole thing.
Okay, thank you very much. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 As long as it said no cost to the city.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Item number 15, future agenda items. No future agenda items, Mr. Dooley, at this time. Item number 16, city manager's report on current events.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I just wanted to thank the council. I have a few items. First, I wanted to thank the council and staff for your support in allowing me to attend the 2012 ACMA Summer Conference, Arizona City Manager Summer Conference. A lot of good, helpful information there gleamed about high-performance organizations, economic update on the market for the state of Arizona as we look forward. I know I had an opportunity to rub shoulders with a lot of good people, good professionals who are battling the same issues that we're battling on a day-to-day basis, and it's good to hear their solutions and to sympathize with them as we share the same issues. So I thank you for that experience, and it also helps me in keeping my credentialing status with the International City Managers Association. So thank you very much for that support. We are currently in the process of negotiating the design agreements on the Crawford project with ADOT and SEGO. We mentioned the bungalow court lights and how they've been off for quite some time. I was informed on Monday that the contractor has been selected and is out this week making those improvements to get those lights back on. So I thought that you guys would be interested in that.
Thank you very much.
The air conditioning situation there at the senior center has been resolved, and that's no longer an issue. I know that there was a lot of concern on that, both from the fact that it was so hot in there with our seniors, but also that it was that way for several days, right? So it's important that we got that going, and that's taken care of. Also, Joe and I continue to work on a draft policy for your consideration regarding a waiver of a waiver of fees relative to refuge on the nonprofit stuff, and we're scheduled to get that back out in front of you at your meeting in September. So stay tuned for that. The police chief update on our recruitment effort. I got a tracking list just today from Human Resource. We've got probably 6 or 7 applicants at this point that seem to meet the minimum qualifications. We put it out to a very heavy traffic source. I can't remember the name of that source for advertising this job. We didn't get that out until about 2 weeks ago. And so I think I want to wait maybe another week or maybe 2 before we start looking at doing our first round of selection, hoping that we can bring forward a finalist and just move through the process. So we'll plan on doing that probably towards the latter half of the month of August. And I'll keep you informed, probably have a good update for you at your September meeting on how that's going.
Thank you very much.
But these applicants are coming in from, you know, all across the country. We've got several from the state of Arizona, but several from Oklahoma, Ohio, all over the place. So, which is something that I wanted, because the more you have applied, the better chance you know that you're going to be hiring the kind of caliber that you're looking for in this important position for the city. So, I'll keep you posted on that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Willie. This meeting is adjourned.